The fears of MSG in Malaysian households have been around for decades. We've all been told that MSG is bad for you, but has your mom ever given you evidence why?
Monosodium glutamate, or MSG.
I began to collapse.
The pain was just unbearable.
Turns on this headache mechanism and makes you hurt.
Migraines, throat swelling, diarrhea, vomiting, irregular heartbeat.
When we do that, we see dramatic damage to that animal's brain.
Before that, let's dive deeper into what MSG actually is. According to the US Food and Drug Administration, monosodium glutamate, or MSG, is essentially the salt of a common amino acid called glutamic acid. This acid is naturally present in our bodies and in many food and food additives. That means, even if we remove food additives, glutamic acid has always been present in our diets. In 1907, a Japanese chemist, Professor Kikunai Ikeda, began research on a traditional Japanese seaweed broth. Made from seaweed and dried fish flakes, it was called dashi, the base of all ramen broth today. He succeeded in extracting 30 grams of monosodium glutamate from the liquid that was used to simmer 38 kilograms of dried kelp. This unique flavor is what we now know as umami, the fifth taste. MSG first made its debut in the medical world through a letter published in the New England Journal of Medicine by Dr. Ho Man Kwok in 1968. It was titled The Chinese Restaurant Syndrome, or CRS. Kwok claimed that he experienced numbness at the back of the neck, general weakness, and palpitations after eating at a Chinese restaurant, specifically in the US. The anti-MSG movement started in America in the 1970s based on the vague understanding of CRS. Despite Americans consuming MSG in products ranging from snacks to baby food, the ingredient has come to be widely accepted as unique to only Chinese restaurants. If glutamate was evidently present in so many other food products, why was the MSG conversation isolated and targeted only at Chinese food? We don't hear about headaches and dehydration from a bowl of Campbell's soup, which, until recently, has always had MSG as an ingredient. Ian Mosby, a Canadian food historian, wrote a paper that was published in the Social History of Medicine, Volume 22, in 2009. It attributed much of America's negative obsession with MSG to be a result of fear-mongering by the media. This was used as a means of reconfirming existing ideas that Chinese immigrants were unassimilable. But here's the science. Dr. Kwok's letter served as a catalyst for a flurry of experiments in both animals and humans. The most prominent study to date was conducted by a Dr. John W. Olney in 1969. He concluded from experiments on mice and rhesus monkeys that MSG induced brain lesions, but 19 other studies by other researchers failed to show any similar results. Dr. Olney also told the New York Times that his findings on MSG raised questions about its safety for pregnant women. That was a pretty alarming statement. But his study only examined the effects of large doses of MSG injected into pregnant mice, a method no human would ever use to consume MSG. Since Dr. Olney's undertaking, there have been numerous clinical studies regarding the effects of MSG on human health. The commonality of all these studies show that MSG has no negative effect on us.
Oh, that's so good.
Ian Mosby's paper in 2009, as well as a study conducted in 2019, showed that early studies of MSG were either flawed in execution or interpretation.
Well, actually, it turns out that glutamic acid can be found naturally. It's found in Parmesan cheese, it's found in tomatoes, and indeed that's why those foods have their delicate flavor. MSG really makes it taste good.
So, countless research done over the last decade clearly states over and over again that MSG is safe. Basically, the belief that MSG is bad for you is hogwash that was spurred on by casual racism hiding behind science.
Haji no whatever. Japanese.
What is it?
It's get a close-up. It's supposed to use it. You see, all those things you're supposed to
Well,
put
it's in
it.
Chinese. I can't read it.
What's the matter with you? Sorry, I thought you were a Chinese. No, I'm kidding.
So, the next time someone tells you they're allergic to MSG, tell them where the closest comedy club is.